Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. This podcast was created for the boomer woman leaving corporate, and now you're looking to reinvent yourself, become an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. Well, each episode will leave you with clarity. You will come away with the yes, I can and yes, I will reinvent myself mindset. So come on, let's do this. I'm your host, Margot Levette. Hi, Margot Levette here, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. I just wrapped up a conversation that I had with the president of National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, Virginia W. Harris. Mrs. Harris took me inside of the missions behind NCBW, what has happened, the strides they've made in the last 2 years, and the fact that they are gearing up for a very important conference to take place in Atlanta, Georgia, October the 9th through the 13th. The theme this year is Step Up and Lead, the Path to Leadership. Learn, empower, advocate, and drive. This conference is going to engage in conversations that will promote strategies and agendas that are going to address gender equity, education, health, economics in particular. What we did not speak of during our conversation is the fact that the NCBW is going to honor 4 very noteworthy people this year. People that are working in the trenches, and they exemplify what the NCBW stands for: education, health, economic empowerment, and yes, public policy. So let me introduce you to the honorees this year. Up under education, Susan L. Taylor, founder and CEO of National Care's Mentoring Movement. Up under health, Yavanka M. Hall, MPA, Executive Director, Northeast Ohio Black Health Coalition. Economic Empowerment, Linda Spradley Dunn, the CEO and the founder of Odyssey Media. Public Policy, Senior Pastor, Reverend Raphael G. Warnock, the historical Ebenezer Baptist Church. So now let me take you into the conversation that I had with NCBW President Virginia W. Harris. Good morning, everyone. Here I am, Margot Levette, having a conversation with the president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, Virginia W. Harris. Mrs. Harris, thank you for joining me this morning.
You're quite welcome.
Well, we are here because I want people to understand more about NCBW and the great event that's going to take place next week. First question, NCBW was born out of a group of women that saw a need, Black women in particular, saw a need, but they also saw opportunity. Things were going on in these United States in the turbulent 60s. When we look back, and the last 2 years in particular, what strides has NCBW made for Black women and Black girls in particular?
Well, our focus over the last couple of years have been to keep Black women and girls educated, engaged, and empowered to act. And our program thrust is based on 3 initiatives: health, education, and economic empowerment. So our goal has been to make sure that we are providing the workshops that will keep our members and our constituents up to date on issues that impact the communities that we serve, the disparities in healthcare, affordable healthcare for working mothers who have children that they must take care of, making sure that education equality is balanced throughout the schools that our constituents' children are attending, and making sure that we hold politicians accountable and make sure that women issues are on their agenda. And if not, we want our members to and our constituents to know that these are the people we need to ask questions, hold them accountable, and vote them out of office if they do not have women priorities first on their agendas.
Well, NCBW and yourself, since you are the national president, seems that you take a very strong leadership role in all of this, making sure that our voices are heard, that you are strong and seen in the community, not just a whimper, but you are a roar in the politician's ear and where it really, really matters. I see that you collaborated with 100 Black Men of America Incorporated, keeping in mind that you are an advocate for Black women and Black girls. Why did you form this collaboration with the gentleman?
Well, we thought that it was a great opportunity for our organization to touch more youth across the country. And with initiatives like education, health and wellness, economic empowerment, and public policy, those things align with both organizations. So we thought that the numbers and impact would be great. So bringing both organizations together, working toward a common goal, has given our chapter members the tools and the resources to implement these initiatives across the country. And it is making a huge impact, and it is successful in our urban cities where the need is there, and we must be able to address it.
Impact, that's what you're going for. I totally understand that. National Coalition of Black Women, how many chapters? Because you are the national president, but you make mention of chapters. You're very strong. Tell us about the chapters. How many states?
We have 61 chapters in 27 states, including the District of Columbia. And in those 61 chapters, we have over 3,563 members across the country. And of those members, we have 700 that will be convening here in Atlanta next week for our biannual conference, which is a conference of knowledge about our core program thrust. It is our business meetings where we elect officers and when we set resolutions for what we're going to do for the next couple of years.
It's vital that this leadership conference take place at the mouth of 2020 when we have so much. We don't know what's going to happen in 2020 as far as the political scene goes, even as a nation. So I think that it's very vital that and it's no accident that the conference is taking place next week. Is it only for the members? You said that it's a time when you all focus and speak of where you're going as an organization, but the general public, it seems that you are big on letting us know what's going on, where you're headed, the impact that you're making in this country. Are any of the sessions open to the general public?
Yes, we will kick off the conference with a public meeting on Wednesday night. And we have probably over 1,000 people, local officials, members of the community, our organization, and our sponsors will be attending the public meeting. And our theme for the public meeting is the path to 2020. We will embark upon the election. It is paramount that we fully understand what's at stake politically and nationally. Even though we are a nonpartisan organization and we do not endorse candidates, it is our civic duty to engage in the conversation as well as promote strategies that are important to the National Coalition of 100 Black Women in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. The public can attend our plenary sessions. They're all driven by our program thrust: health, education, economic empowerment, and public policy. And we will have a roundtable with local mayors to talk about how this all began at the local level and how local politics actually impact national agendas. We have health experts that will talk about, in order to lead, you must be fit, you must be healthy. Education, what it's doing to our children and how we still must be engaged as role models and making sure that our kids are receiving education in the STEM category, which is one of our education initiatives, making sure that our young girls and our young boys are being trained so they can be qualified to be considered for internships and jobs across the country.
So you're really gearing up to, and you're addressing all of your mission statement. You are addressing every part of that, making sure that all of the members and us as general public really understand what's on the table.
That is correct.
Going into 2020, are there any important steps? And I'm choosing my words delicately because I don't want to inject anything here. When you're preparing for this conference and you know what's on the line coming into 2020, are there particular steps that you all are taking as an organization to make sure that what you've worked to establish stays in place and you're able to move forward?
Yes, Margot, it is important that by leading in ways that put Black women and youth at the top of every political agenda through legislation, engagement, action, and demands. So as leaders in advocacy, we must begin changes in legislation that empower Black women and girls to live where their best lives can be fulfilled. Once a person is elected, no matter what political affiliation, it is important that we hold them accountable and make sure that we're at the table. We're knowing about the decisions that's going to impact Black women and youth. So we have done a lot of work in getting people registered to vote, but we see that we're still falling short in getting them to the polls to actually cast their ballot. There have been so much conversation about votes not mattering, and the younger generation tend to take that to heart. They're thinking that if my vote don't matter, then I am not going to go out to vote. But it is still our role as advocates to make sure that they understand what happened. And it is important that they show up and cast that ballot at every election, local, midterm, and especially the federal election, because these are the things that change the entire agenda across the country, and it mostly impact urban communities.
Got you. I totally understand.
The other thing that we're going to be helped to promote is the U.S. Census that is going to be taking place in a year. And that time is approaching very fast. So we have partnered with the U.S. Census Bureau to make sure that we understand the importance of being counted, that it is mandatory by the Constitution, and the impact that the census have on funding for cities and communities throughout the United States for the next 10 years. So that is one of the things we will be addressing at the conference as well, and being attuned to.
Very contemporary and necessary conversations going on. I'm having a conversation here with the president, national president of National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, Mrs. Virginia W. Harris, who is indeed the president. On October the 9th, they are meeting in Atlanta, Georgia, and as you can hear, about to talk about some very important issues and make sure that we are positioned to stay on the trajectory forward, that we don't lose any ground that has been given to us. Learn, empower, advocacy, drive, step up and lead the path to leadership. That is the mantra, that is the thrust, that is the forethought for this 2019 conference that's taking place. Thank you, Mrs. Harris. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the 100 Black women. We always make sure that whenever we get an opportunity, we'd like to empower, educate people about the organization and what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Margot.
I want to thank you for listening to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Couple of things that I want you to do right now. Go to my website, pick up a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, how I went from game show hopping to international show host, author, and speaker in 1 year. Number 2, please freely listen to each and every episode. Share them out with your family, friends, the men in your lives. And then number 3, get in contact with me, one of the experts that have been on the show, because I want to make sure that you reinvent yourself. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation.